You're somebody that served as a police officer for decades. Let me tell you something here. I need a minute here. When MAGA Republicans talk about how they back the blue, they are full of crap.
They
Why
are.
do I say that? Well, if an officer is attacked in any situation, I will call it out, but they only talk about it, for example, when it comes to Black Lives Matter. But you see, if a police officer is attacked on January 6th, Donald Trump will call the people who attacked those officers and beat them up with their own batons as hostages and patriots, and he will pardon them. It's only back the blue when it's convenient for them. Donald Trump went to a wake of a fallen officer, terrible story, who lost his life, brutalized, and it was a brutal story caught on video in New York City. It happened under Joe Biden. Now, listen, I don't care what president it happens under. It's horrific, it's terrible, and most police officers like Leonard are good people, they're heroes. Yeah, there are some bad apples in there, sure, but for the most part, of course I support police officers. But you see, there were officers that were fallen, sadly, under the Trump administration as well. Did he go to any of those wakes? I'll give you another example. Donald Trump says he backs those brave men and women in uniform, right? He always talks about that, even though he dodged the military. He said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captures the suckers and losers statement. However, Donald Trump didn't go to any funerals of fallen soldiers under the Trump administration, but only under the Biden administration. And in fact, you had 4 fallen soldiers, their bodies being sent back here last month. Donald Trump chose to not go to that event. What was he doing? What was on his schedule? Was he meeting with a world leader?
Well,
I'll tell you what
he
he
wanted
did.
to blame Biden.
But I'll tell you what he did on that day, Leonard. He was hanging out at Doral Golf Course in Florida. Why? The Live Golf Tournament was there. Donald Trump is in bed with the Saudis, just like Jared Kushner. They were paying him to play on his golf course. He mingled with members of the Saudi government, who, by the way, support terrorism, and groups like Hamas. And he decided to do that instead of honoring these 4 soldiers. But what will MAGA Republicans do? They'll blame Joe Biden and be upset for a half a second when Joe Biden looks at his watch. But you see, when things happen under Donald Trump not only does not take accountability for it, but he doesn't do the same things that he would do when it was under Joe Biden. For example, if an undocumented immigrant commits a horrible crime and somebody loses their life, Donald Trump will talk about it till high heaven if it happened under Joe Biden. But those same sorts of crimes did happen under Donald Trump. Does he invite members of those families or those victims to the Republican National Convention or to when he speaks at the State of the Union? No, of course not. Because Donald Trump, number one, doesn't have any empathy. And number two, he only does things if it's politically convenient for him to attack the other side. And when bad things happen under the Trump administration, he only blames the other side.